Hello, today we're going to be learning how to solve quadratic equations by completing the square and putting it into vertex form. First, we're going to learn how to complete the square before we do vertex form. So these are the steps to completing the square. We have to divide all the terms by a if there is a number for a, and then move the terms to the right side of the equation, complete the square on the left side of the equation, and balance by adding the same value to the right side of the equation, and take the square root of both sides and subtract the number that remains on the left side of the equation to find x. So this is our first example. So our A, B, and C is our 1, 12, and 32. Because A is 1, we don't need to do anything to it. So we can just skip the first step. What we do need to do though is first, what we do need to do first is we have to transpose this to the other side and add a box, or whichever you prefer, like a line or whatever. So it would be turning to a negative 32. Now, and we also have to add a box here. Now what the box equals to is b divided by 2 squared 2. So we take our 12 and replace b in here. So 12 divided by 2 squared. And so 12 divided by 2 equals to 6 squared. And combine this, which is 6 times 6 will equal to 36. And now we replace 36 into our boxes. And we combined. So negative 32 plus 36 will equal to 4. And we bring everything down. And now we take this and we take one of an x, and we put it into parentheses. And we also have to do square root. Now our square root and our radical, they cancel out each other, so this would just be x equal plus 6. And in front of the radical should be a plus and minus. The square root of 4 is 2, so you write 2. And now to get our x values, we separate it into 2 equations because we have a plus and minus sign. So it will be plus x plus 6 equals to positive 2, and x plus 6 equals to negative 2. And you basically just solve it by getting x alone. So we have to minus 6 for both sides and combined. X here will equal to 8. Oh, no. Wait, yes. Negative 4. And x here will equal to negative 8. And this will be our 2x values. And this is our final answer. To be clear, if you were to have it onto a graph, our negative 4 would be like somewhere here and somewhere here, because we don't have a y value. Yeah, so this is our answer. Next. And now this is our second example. See that over here it doesn't equal to 0, so but it doesn't really matter since we can combine 9 by subtracting 9, since we need the box anyways. And 25 minus 9 will equal to 16. And again, we need the box. And we drag everything down. Now, same thing as before. B over 2 square 2, and we replace b with negative 6. Divide negative 6 and 2, get negative 3. Drag, put down the exponent 2, combine these two, and you get 9. And you put the 9s in here, and we combine 16 and 9 will give us 25. And we put everything down. And this would be our equation so far. And we do the same thing as before, in which we pretty much disregard everything. And oops. And we use this number to get our, so we have our radicals. Again, radical and exponent 2, they cancel out each other. So these two would be left. And again, the plus and minus, and 25 is a square root to 5. So it'll be plus and minus 5. And we can do the split thing again, or we could do something that's slightly easier in my opinion, in which you transpose negative 3 to the side. So it would look like x equals to 3 plus and minus 5. And you get the idea of like 3 plus 5 equals 8. Then 3 minus 5 equals to negative 3. And these would be your x's. And that's your final answer. Again, on the graph, again on the graph, you get like your 8 over here and your negative 3 over here. And your line looks something like that. Next. This is your turn. Remember, you should put it into standard form, which is you can equal to y or 0, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, remember that. Remember to put it in standard form before you answer the equation, solve the equation. And now we're gonna move on to vertex form. With that.
Now we are going to do the vertex form. So we want to complete the square, recall the vertex, identify the givens, plug in what we know, solve for A, write the equation in the vertex form, which is shown on the bottom right-hand corner, and then you receive your coordinate points. So let's do the first one together. Let's rewrite it. It's x to the second power plus 10x plus 32 equal to y or 0. So first we're going to shift over the negative 32. The positive 32 into negative 32 by subtracting 32 on both sides. Next, we're going to find out the missing box using the equation b over 2 squared. So our b would be 10 right here. So 10 over 2 squared gives you 10 divided by 2, which is 5. 5 squared would give you 25. So you just write that here. So x squared plus 10x plus 25. And you would plus 25 on both sides. So the other side would be negative 32 plus 25. So you would just complete the square with this. So you would get x plus 5 squared equals to negative 7, because negative 32 plus 25 gives you negative 7. And you want to write your vertex coordinate by making sure the x value, which is positive 5, but you want to flip the sign, so it'll be negative 5. And then you want to bring the 7 over, so it's add 7, so it's positive 7. This is your final answer. So the whole thing would look like y equals parentheses x plus 5 squared plus 7. And you would derive this from that. This is your vertex coordinate, and then this is your vertex form. Let's do another practice example. So let's rewrite it to x squared minus 8x plus 3 equal to 0 y. So we do the same thing as before. We'll shift the positive 3 to the other side by subtracting 3 on both sides. Then you want to use the formula from before, b over 2 squared. So the b in this case would be negative 8 right here. So you would have negative 8 divided by 2 squared. Negative 8 divided by 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 squared will give you positive 16. So you would add 16 on both sides. So x squared minus 8x plus 16. And the other side would be negative 3 plus 16. And then you want to complete the square root of this, so you get x minus 4 squared equals to 13. And then you shift the 13 over, so it'll be y equals x minus 4 squared minus 13. So your coordinates would be positive 4 because you want to flip this x. So you want to be positive 4, comma, negative 13. So this would be your vertex coordinate, and then this would be your vertex form. You can pause the video and do these practice questions on your own. It's the same concept. You want to make sure that you have, this is very crucial, b over 2 squared. Because that's what you're going to have to use to add to both sides of the equation. And that is all for today's lesson. So you can look back into the video if you forgot something or if you want to review something to make sure when you're doing the practice questions. We'll be posting this on the Google Classroom, and it'll be posted on the Google Classroom. And you can also email us if you have any comments, questions, suggestions. And we'll have our for this week we only have Wednesday because Thursday we have the Thanksgiving, Friday we have the Thanksgiving break. So that's all for today. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.